Support WrestleTalk!
Be friendly in the comments.
Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen. I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're reviewing this week's episodes of Raw and Smackdown, including Has Finn Balor been buried? Where is Braun Strowman? And Smackdown invades Raw. If you want to go to any of those discussions, click the timestamps in the video description below, or stay right here where we're gonna talk nonsense for a bit, including subscribe to this in podcast form using one of these really nicely placed transparent logos of different places you can download it from.
I would say very nice and non-intrusive.
Especially because they disappear for the majority of the... We took your feedback. A lot of people did not like... They found it way too distracting.
They found it very insulting that we had these things on there, and it just did not agree with them.
It's YouTube diehards. They saw it as podcasts. Smackdown invading Raw.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
What are podcasts in terms of the Smackdown roster? Is it the Baron Corbins of the Smackdown?
It'd be strictly mid-card, yeah. You wouldn't have Nakamura doing a run-in. We'll get to all of this later when we talk about Raw. So maybe you could even... Have you ever seen Magic Rafa on YouTube?
No.
I implore you to Google it or YouTube it, whatever the correct verb is, to seek it out. Rafa Benitez, of course, former Liverpool manager. During his time as Liverpool manager, he was on a broadcast on Sky Sports, and he was giving directions to his team. He was making this movement, and this movement miraculously synced up perfectly to a graphic appearing on screen.
Oh, wow.
And the idea is Magic Rafa. Yeah. It looks like he does that. And then he goes like this, and it animates off. It's amazing.
Very cool.
It's very fun. It's one of my favourite YouTube clips. Of course, not including all of Luke's fabulous videos.
Well, thank you. I mean, I was actually going to say, I wasn't going to say one of yours. I was going to say the Scott Steiner math promo.
We watched it earlier. That's brilliant.
In celebration of our Halloween Havoc podcast going up.
I don't want to toot our own horn, but there's a new Wrestle sketch coming out soon.
There is indeed.
Which is a lot of people's favourite thing on this channel. Hasn't been around for a while because it takes forever to edit.
It is one of some people's favourite things on this channel, but it is paid for by something that people really hate.
Yeah, sponsorship placements has given me more time to edit that. But you mentioned Halloween Havoc. Today is it's been 19 years, so that's the 18th anniversary, or if you're in WWE, the 19th anniversary of WCW Halloween Havoc 1998, which had arguably Goldberg's best ever match against DDT.
I would agree. Certainly his best match at that point.
What would you put Brock Lesnar WrestleMania 33 against it?
No, I think I prefer the DDP match. Maybe.
I'm just talking about in the mix.
Oh, right, yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely, I would, yeah.
And his Raven match.
Yes.
Just for the overbooked craziness. I love that match. And the Tale of Two Sides, the -5-star match with Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, and of course the pay-per-view that was notable for cutting off before the main event even happened, because WCW booked a 3-hour, 15-minute show and didn't tell cable providers. So the pay-per-view just shut off on 25% of the people who'd ordered it.
Ironically, a similar thing nearly happened to Luke, because Luke was uploading the podcast. It's such a large audio file. It's like 2.5 hours long, right?
2 hours and 37 minutes.
Yeah, it was too large for Patreon to accept on its servers. So you nearly had to cut it off. You had to compress it a bit.
I had to compress it for a bit.
The main event would have been lost.
I had a bit of a panic while watching Smackdown, because I was trying to upload it at the same time, that it wasn't going to work.
Of course, that is for $5 backers. We're not taking content away before you get angry with us. We're giving content to the people who very kindly support us on Patreon.
Absolutely.
But should we get on with the Raw and Smackdown reviews?
Well, there's so much to say, I think we should.
Haha, it's a Raw review looking jacked, man.
We're kicking off with Raw this week. We're going to take a chronological approach to the reviews, which started with Kurt Angle coming out and going, yeah, I wrestled last night.
Yeah.
Really happy.
Not selling his injuries whatsoever,
No.
which is also true of SmackDown when Shane McMahon came out. And I believe it was Michael Cole on both, it might actually have been Corey Graves, on both occasions it was like, I'm sure he's hurting on the inside.
Well, that's it. And Shane even said, yeah, I hurt a lot. I'm really hurting.
Yeah.
And well, you can say words. This is WWE's problem all over. You can say words, but I don't believe that.
Yeah.
You're not like walking around hobbled, or you don't even have some. Remember when Shane went through a period every week he had some black eye makeup on? Like, at least that's something. He was just good old buff dad Shane.
He was just regular Shane. What's up, Minneapolis?
Yeah.
No, they weren't there. They were in Minnesota.
Foot dance. I can't wait for the day he gets it wrong. Mega heel. That's when he turns heel.
But yeah, I mean, I think I might have said where he was wrong again there. I can't remember. I didn't actually write that one down. I did for everyone else because Raw was in Green Bay. I wrote that one down because it's the home of that 70s show.
And the Green Bay Packers, who were in attendance at ringside. That's right, Pitch Perfect 2 Zone. Green Bay Packers. It's my favourite joke in the film.
I forgot about that moment in Pitch Perfect. That's where I switched off from the movie because I was like, sequelitis has kicked in. Celebrity cameos for no reason. Do you know that happened really badly in Ted 2?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that experience.
No, it's a really bad movie, highlighted by a really awful Jay Leno joke, not Lay Jeno.
Lame Jeno.
It's a lame Jeno joke. That Jay Leno joke at the side is dreadfully horrible. Anyway, so Kurt Angle comes out. He is not selling his injuries whatsoever, and then mispronounces the WWE Champion's name.
What did he say?
He calls him Jinder Mahal.
Oh, yes, Mahal.
Yeah. That is how over Jinder is within the WWE. No one even knows his name.
Well, I was on the other end of a phone of a sort of video-streamed press conference with Kurt Angle earlier this year, and he was going through all the people he would like to face, like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, the usual people.
People he's already faced.
The people he actually wants to wrestle again because he loves wrestling them. And then his WWE mind kicked in, or WWE, as he would say. And he goes, and of course, Roman Reigns, this person, and... Oh, darn it, what is it? What's and he points to someone by the side and says, what's the WWE champion's name? Jinder Mahal! And he starts laughing, and everyone's kind of laughing that he's forgotten this.
No.
A very lame champion's name. And the other thing, he pronounced Asuka, who do you want to see call up from NXT? And he goes, I love that Asuka.
Oh, it's so good,
You've
man.
only seen that written down, haven't you?
It is. I actually was talking to you about this the other day. I was watching the Asuka collection on the network, and when she debuts, she comes down and says Kana on the screen, which was her original wrestling name, and then she changes it to Asuka. Obviously, the NXT crowd haven't heard it said out loud, so they just read it on the screen, start chanting Asuka, Asuka, and I was like, man, isn't that amazing? And then within 5 seconds, they were like, it's Asuka! And they were like, oh, okay, right, we've chanted it wrong.
Yeah, but they immediately corrected themselves. I still somehow say Kairi Sane. Carrie Sane, like a Stephen King novel. I don't know why, because I know it's not that now, because enough people have told me, but my mind still wants to say Kyrie. No, that's right.
That's right.
Oh, I don't even know. So, Kurt Angle's out there and not selling his TLC injuries, but he is selling Survivor Series. He confirms that this year is going to be Raw versus SmackDown themed, and it's going to be loads of champion versus champion matches.
Announcing some matches that will be very good, like Death versus the Usos.
One match that's going to be very good.
Well, okay, I was about to say.
Which is that one.
That one. And then The Miz versus Baron Corbin, which sounds like it is going to be an awful, awful match. And a lot of just heel versus heel, because there's only one face champion at the moment, which is, depending on where you stand with Brock Lesnar, there's only one tag team group at the moment, where the only one face champions, which is Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, and everyone else is heel. So you have a lot of heel matches, including Alexa Bliss versus Natalya, and The Miz versus Baron Corbin.
The Miz versus Baron Corbin is so astoundingly uninspiring.
Isn't it just? Like, that is the worst of your WWE mid-card.
It really shows, the US title was being defended by AJ Styles and Kevin Owens and everyone else that Jinder Mahal had pushed out the main event. And now it's Baron Corbin and Sin Cara, looped in eternity. But the, I would make the argument that the Usos have actually turned.
Yes, I think,
it's actually a face versus face.
We'll come on to this when we get to SmackDown. They appear to be playing the babyface compared to Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin's heel roles, or Shelton Benjamin.
Keep on sucking. A lot of heel champions there. But I thought they were going to save the Brock versus Jinder confirmation.
They were.
for the segment with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman.
They were,
But they just threw it away here with an announcement.
Yeah, they kind of did this with SmackDown as well. The actual SmackDown announced match that was going to happen on last night's show it was going to be an 8-man tag. It was going to be the Usos and the New Day taking on Rusev and English and Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Then they just changed their minds just before they got to the show. That's what it just sort of feels like here. They planned to have Brock Lesnar respond to the challenge, but then we're like, well, we're announcing all these other Survivor Series matches. We may as well just do it here.
Yeah.
And I'll say this now with my regard to Survivor Series 2017. I'm not liking it already because it has essentially put every single storyline they had on halt just so we can do this Raw versus SmackDown thing that nobody cares about. I just think that this is really putting a halt to all of their storylines.
It really has. AJ Styles, Jinder Mahal being the biggest one for me. But I'll say my thoughts in the main event review bit because that really is where all this. Because right now there's no hint of an invasion. It's just teased.
Yeah.
So this turns into Miz, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Curtis Axel coming out and saying, "Screw you, Kurt Angle." They intimidate him. They get him up on. They actually fully enclose him in the ring because there are 4 sides to a ring. 3 men do not create an inescapable situation. Michael Cole.
Yeah, Michael Cole. Look at it. It's count.
Yeah, and that because Kurt Angle's a member of the Shield now because he won a competition. Dean and Seth came out and fought them all off, and Kurt said, "I'm making a match against you 3 and Dean, Seth, and someone who's still here from last night from TLC, AJ Styles." And AJ Styles comes out, and what a cracking match these 6 opened with.
AJ Styles, such a pro, wears gear with red on it because he's on Raw. What a smart man he is.
Well, I think he was going to Raw like the day of the Superstar Shake-Up this year. I think he got all his red stuff made, and then he's like, "Well, I'm gonna wear it tonight. I'm gonna at least have my Raw moment tonight."
Bloody paid for it.
Yeah. It's like Cena's heel ring gear. I'm going to wear it on an episode of Total Bellas. So, yeah, if you want the real story behind that, Luke made a cracking video about John Cena's never done heel turn.
It's okay.
This was just a really good match. It was so fast at the end. I loved it.
I loved this match. It went through 2 commercial breaks. This is possibly one of my favourite matches of the year. It just really stuck out to me.
TV matches,
absolutely. I had so much fun watching this match. It was so well worked. All 6 guys were just doing absolutely brilliant work. I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely awesome. And I've literally written in my notes here, AJ is so damn good. Holy F, that match was fun. AJ is the best.
This is why I am calling for a trios championship, a 6-man tag championship belt. And that, it separates Raw and SmackDown. I've said this loads of times. I think it is different. A 6-man tag is different to a normal tag match.
It really is.
You can just get so much stuff in the end sequence.
Vinny of the Brian and Vinny Show always used to say, you cannot go wrong with a 6-man tag match. If every Raw ended with a 6-man tag, every Raw would be great.
It's weird how an 8-man tag is suddenly too much. I'm just cluttered now. But the 6, there's something about that. And tag matches are great, but it's a different psychology. It's more about cutting off the ring. But 6-man tags was all about just fast action. I was
going to say, we'll actually come on to a 10-man tag later on.
Yes, but yes, this ended with AJ pinning Cesaro after the phenomenal forearm. But Kane
also a great moment from Michael Cole during this. So there is branding for this year's Survivor Series. The branding for this year's Survivor Series. It's the only night where you will see Raw and SmackDown superstars collide. And I was during this match where AJ Styles from SmackDown was in there with all the Raw guys. So I was like, well, apart from tonight, Michael. Oh, and also last night when you had Raw's Finn Balor taking on SmackDown's AJ Styles. Oh, and I suppose the Royal Rumble as well that happened earlier this year, and sometimes house shows.
So I'm going to be that guy who says he's rereading George Orwell's 1984 off the back of a Russian documentary on sports doping on Netflix, and it's doublespeak. And you can't, it's like an organisation gone mad with power, and they say one thing which is blatantly false because you can see the evidence to the contrary right in front of your eyes, and everyone's behaving like it's true. And it's just bizarre.
So Brexit then?
Yeah, but
I'm not getting
why did you say that? There was a level to the politics there. So where were you throwing me with
Kane
your political
came out.
speech? Kane came out.
Two light Roman chants.
Roman?
So because Kane came out and he starts choke slamming everyone, there was a chant for Roman to make a return. There were people chanting for Roman.
Was it ironic?
I said it was light. I didn't say it was an overweight. It's not like Austin was coming back, but there was a chant for it.
So Kane comes out, he beats up the baby faces, he declares himself Raw's only monster, and then, to steal Braun Strowman's line intentionally, having taken him out the previous night, having murdered the guy, said he demands competition.
This was, as I've written here, a very Vince McMahon written promo, because it was very just big on verbiage, big on words, and it was just like I can see Vince writing this, because Vince loves overlong words and words that no one uses, because that was
eviscerate.
That's because that's what Vince thinks. Oh, this is what kids want to hear. This will make him sound scary. So it was a very Vince McMahon written promo.
Unfortunately, a badly delivered promo, and I love Kane.
Yeah, but Kane's got too much on his mind now. He's running for mayor of Hard Knocks. He's too busy, mate.
It was just a bit of rust being in front of that. I don't know. He's done it for long enough. It was a bad promo. It was a badly written promo. It was a badly delivered promo. I'm sorry, Kane.
But it led to a much worse segment. So, we said on the TLC review show, well, at least I said anyway, this is why Finn Balor should be leading Raw. He should be the face of Raw, or at least one of the top guys on Raw. Maybe, as you said, the top heel on Raw. Because
with a Balor club, definitely.
Because he's so good, and he's just amazing. He had a fantastic match with AJ Styles. When you give him the right opponent, or actually you just give him a storyline that people can get invested in, or
not even a storyline,
a match that people can get invested in, people get super into Balor, and he was over like Rover, to steal a phrase from another podcast. So what do you do here? You bring him out and have him get squashed by Kane. What? That is so backwards. What is this all about?
It's just baffling. It's baffling. As if Kane didn't already look strong by taking out three people at the end of the previous match. You have an entire roster back there.
You have a Matt Hardy you could have used.
Because that's it. You're but there's no... You don't just want to send a jobber out there. I get that, because it does nothing for Kane. It's just a squash. If you send out a Matt Hardy, who's doing nothing at the moment, a Jason Jordan, who can lose a valiant effort but still can't overcome Kane, those are infinitely better options than the guy who has so much momentum, who had just finally got a leg up after months of being dragged down by this terribly supernatural Bray Wyatt storyline, and you derail all that momentum by having him lose a 5-minute match clean to Kane in the middle of the ring to 3 consecutive chokeslams. This wasn't like a back and forth thing where Kane cheated. This was, and I hate using the word squash because it is overused, and I hate using the word buried because it is overused. But that's what happened here to Finn Balor. And like you said, there's so much potential, incredibly short-sighted stuff. I cannot... It's the act of a madman. There's nothing to explain it.
This is absolute lunacy. It almost feels like he's being punished for having a good match. It was that's what the conspiracy theorist will say is because of the unsanctioned too sweet. Yeah, okay, so my first thought was, when Kane said, I want competition to come out, my first thought was, I'll be Kurt Hawkins. Because that's Kurt Hawkins' gimmick, is that I'm going to finally end my losing streak and I'm going to beat Kane. That would have been great, because you could have just done the multiple chokeslam things, not even had to have the match, and it would have been fine. It doesn't hurt Kurt Hawkins. That's his gimmick, is that he loses all the time. My second thought on this was just cool. So Finn Balor's a jobber, but Demon Balor is the star. Is that what they're doing? Or are they building to Demon Kane versus Demon Balor? So Kane has completely destroyed Finn Balor, so he now has to bring out the demon to face off against the Demon Kane, which I did think is a possibility. But then I thought, well, that's just kind of delaying the Braun Strowman thing, right? And that's what we apparently are building towards. It almost feels as well. Have we dropped all these plans for Balor versus Lesnar?
It's. Yeah.
I mean, they have to have done, right? Because like, there's no way you'd book that match if that's what you're building to.
No. Well, what we know from WWE's history that within 2 weeks or after Survivor Series, Finn will be challenging for Lesnar.
Yeah, because you'll have forgotten about this.
What is
just...
the point of getting invested in anything if you're just going to treat us like this?
What was it you were just saying then? Double speak?
Yeah, double speak.
It's evidence to the contrary. It's just like, oh, Balor can take on big men. We've just actually seen the evidence that he can't.
So I get that, Kane is Vince McMahon's one of his deep loves. He loves the Kane character. And I get that Braun Strowman is really your next future big star. So you build up Kane to build up Strowman. This isn't getting Kane over. This is getting Braun Strowman over. That's why Finn got buried, really. It's that knock-on effect. But Finn could be the guy as well. It's just, I don't know what to say.
No.
I don't know what to say.
I think this is one of the most perplexing bits of booking that WWE have done all year long. Just in terms of a guy who had incredible momentum on Sunday that you just killed dead less than 24 hours later.
If the match on Sunday never happened, fair enough, because where was Finn for what's he been doing for the last 3-4 months? But after that match, when it completely reset his character.
And as you said, when you have a roster filled with guys that you could have used, I thought it was baffling.
Just got to fly with my own hands.
Well done, mate.
So next up, we had Shane McMahon backstage going over to Kurt Angle. Apparently they're very good friends in real life. And Shane's like, oh, so it's Raw versus Smackdown, eh? And Kurt Angle's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
He was having a right chuckle sometime during this promo, wasn't he? Every time Shane was like, we're going to kill you, we're going to beat you up. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you later, Shane.
Yeah, Kurt was obviously told, you don't, act completely innocent. You don't know what's happening. And of course, I love Kurt's performance style, but he does only have a few grades. So he's like, okay, I'm happy Kurt now. It's like happy Kurt, sad Kurt, mean Kurt. That's all he's got.
He's got worried Kurt.
Goofy Kurt. Worried Kurt was really good at the end, actually, when he walked off. So Shane here, he said under siege. And I was just like, oh no. I know how WWE positions certain bits of verbiage.
Didn't they just?
This is the one, isn't it? This is, when you said Michael Cole's it's Survivor Series, the only time you can see it's under siege. And they said the next night on SmackDown, he didn't say under siege. He said hashtag under siege. Does anyone say hashtag anything anymore?
Yeah.
That was a thing from 3 years ago, right?
WWE is just behind the times. It's like golf. Golf is a sport that's about 10 years behind the curve. And that's what WWE are.
Why are you suddenly shooting on golf?
I'm not shooting on golf. I play golf. It's just that it is a sport that is a few decades behind the curve.
I've never heard
There are some clubhouses that still don't let women inside.
Okay. It was that thing. You're bringing it into politics again. Should we talk about terrorism or something?
No, not even just that. There are some golf clubs that don't even have websites because they're just like, well, our players don't use websites. Mate, it's 2017.
It's like golf. That's what this is like. This was, but it was a fine promo, especially not in isolation, but considering what happened later, it perfectly sowed the seeds. And at the time when watching it, I had no idea what it was sowing the seeds for.
No.
So that's good storytelling. I think.
It is, yeah.
What isn't good storytelling, however, is the next match, which was Asuka versus Emma again.
I had a prediction on the TLC show that they were going to do this rematch and they were going to do the squash match they probably should have done on the pay-per-view. Boy, was I wrong. To quote Michael Cole during this match, Asuka is being dominated. That's the problem. That's why Asuka isn't getting over. This is not getting her over here. You can't do all these promo packages for weeks saying, Asuka is coming. Asuka is coming. Look at how dominating she is. 500 and whatever days it was as NXT Women's Champion. Oh my God, the women's roster's going to get put on notice. They're going to be really worried if they're backstage. Then come out in and have her dominated. That doesn't make any sense in terms of storytelling.
And it's not against Nia Jax.
No,
it's against Emma, who I love, but has not been credible competition for years.
In terms of her placement on the Raw brand of women, she is a step above Alicia Fox. That's what it is.
Not anymore.
Well, no, apparently
Survivor
not anymore.
Series captain Alicia Fox.
Oh, we'll come on to that, I suppose. So, so perhaps now she's lower than Alicia Fox. So it is just the most baffling thing. This match went way too long.
Mm-hmm.
It was worse than their pay-per-view match. It was Emma all the way through, and then Asuka gets a fluke win at the end with by locking in the Asuka lock. Terrible, stupid booking.
It's she's gonna have a 5-minute match competitive with Dana Brooke next week. That's my
Oh, actually, yeah, maybe Dana Brooke's lower.
Dana Brooke's the
yeah,
lowest.
Dana Brooke's definitely the lowest. I forgot Dana Brooke was on the card. In all fairness.
She was running around backstage.
Oh, she was
later.
backstage. Yeah.
Someone slowed down her running away from the Smackdown invasion.
Yeah.
To the Chariots of Fire music. That's quite fun. Online. This I completely agree. I don't really want to talk about it anymore because just like the Finn thing, it makes me sad.
I've written here. Remember the booking of Nia Jax last year when they first did the brand split? Like, just do that.
Squashes,
Bring in. You don't have to use women on the Raw roster. Bring in like enhancement talent, local jobbers. And she can squash those instead. Just do that. It's not that hard. You've done it loads. You did it literally 12 months ago. Just repeat it. Baffling. And then at the end of it, again, Michael Cole's like, the Raw women need to be put on notice. Why? It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, Asuka is just within 2 nights, within 2 matches, Asuka is just another Raw woman wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 5-minute match. Emma took 3 minutes of that. It's just horrible. And Brian Alvarez always has the line, at the end of this match, I was less into her than I was at the start. And so were the crowd. You could audibly hear you could feel the shine coming off Asuka as this match went on. Should have been a squash.
Absolutely.
Just really, it should have been what you said.
Absolutely baffling.
Next up, we have Alexa Bliss coming out, kind of a pretty good promo, as she always does.
Yep.
On just everything, really. Just the crowd, on AJ and Balor looking longingly into each other's eyes. That gets a "You deserve it" chant. Why don't I?
I loved you trying to get the "You deserve it" chant going. It was
yeah.
so awesome, and just like she controls the crowd so well. She is an absolute master of her craft. I'm a big Alexa Bliss fan. Cutting a promo on Natty, and then cutting a bit of a promo on Mickie James as well, and then Mickie James comes out, kicks an awesome DDT, and the crowd pop huge.
So high.
Yeah. Mickie James is absolutely on fire at the moment.
Yeah.
But again, this is what I mean. Like, I'm glad this program isn't over, but it does have that roadblock at the end of it of just, but we've got to do the Alexa Bliss versus Natty match at Survivor Series because that's the only night of the year that you'll see Raw and SmackDown superstars collide in the same ring. So we've got to just kind of put the brakes on this for a little bit, but still book it for the next few Raws, but then stop it so we can do Survivor Series and then carry on afterwards.
You mean the weekly booking is under siege?
That's what it is. You're right. No. It's hashtag.
It's hashtag under siege.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer pointed out the size of Mickie James' heels here. They were enormous, and she still hit a pretty impressive DDT, Mickey DT, I should say.
Yes.
Very good. Next up, because
backstage.
Oh, backstage! I've missed out this segment.
So backstage, we had Kurt Angle standing there, and I think he was like looking at the TV monitor.
Yeah.
And then Bayley and Banks walk in, both being incredibly insufferable because the verbiage that they give them is dreadful.
Well done, Kurt. You made your return. You're amazing, Kurt. Cheers. I'm pretty amazing. No one's over.
And then Crazy Like a Fox walks in, wearing her T-shirt that she was babbling on about last week. Just made absolutely no reference to the fact that she's wearing her own T-shirt.
Doublespeak.
Despite the fact that was the storyline last week.
Yeah.
And then she, to her credit, was actually quite funny in this segment. And then they booked a triple threat for them later on in that night, where the winner would be the captain for Team Raw.
So I read the original plan was for Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the to decide the Raw Women's captain. So Alicia Fox being added and therefore winning was a very last-minute call. You know how PW Insider breaks what's going to happen, the matches for Raw and SmackDown on like several hours before the show starts?
Yeah.
Up until that point, it was Banks versus Bayley. So yeah, they decided to go with Fox in the end. We'll talk about that more later. But yes, the TLC replay hour continued. The middle hour of Raw really was just, you could completely missable.
Oh, it was. I mean, I don't want to play my hand here too early, but I thought this was started off great, then just dipped down, picked back up a little bit, but then dropped right back down again before the end. It was literally a W.
So Jason Jordan beat Elias next.
As I've written here, snore, Elias gets DQ'd.
Well, not completely snore, because they went like a minute in the ring and then they went outside, and Jordan had some awesome moments, picking up Elias, charging into the barricades, and he was so awesome and he looked so fired up. The crowd were cheering Jason Jordan.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm into this. He looked really good. And then he drove him into the barricade again. Elias is down. He goes for another charge, and that's when he gets hit in the shoulder with the guitar.
Looking at my notes here, I now know why I didn't remember any of that, because all of my notes are just around Booker T's commentary.
Right, yes. Do you want to talk about this?
Because Booker T loses it in this match, just talking about how when Elias hit him with the guitar, Booker T goes like, he got what he deserved because he was cheating.
Yeah.
And then Cole and Corey Graves just start laughing and go like, what are you talking about? Where was he cheating? He was like, he was cheating all over the place. He got what he deserved.
Yeah.
And that was all my takeaway. I was like, what are you on about?
Well, do you know what he said? He said, it's because he's outside the ring.
Yeah.
That's not illegal. The referee had a 10 count on. No one was counted out.
Yep.
The match was awarded to Jason Jordan via DQ on Elias's part. It is. Booker T has gone from being comically bad, which he started off, to me actually wanting David Otunga now. It's gone past funny.
There are a few people who've got in touch with me on Twitter whenever I complain about Booker T's commentary, saying like, it could be worse, it could be David Otunga. I'm like, do you know what? I would gladly have David Otunga now, because David Otunga at least pays attention to what is going on. He doesn't offer anything. He doesn't offer anything insightful, but he also doesn't ruin matches. He doesn't actively take away from things. I would so much rather David Otunga, or no one, and just have the two-man booth.
Yeah, Booker T is actually detracting from matches rather than adding to them. Next up, we had Brock Lesnar, or should I say Paul Heyman, answering Jinder Mahal's challenge from SmackDown last week.
Which had already been answered for him.
Yes, because, the match was announced in the opening segment. But Heyman took a really interesting approach here.
Yeah, he really did.
He didn't say, he openly acknowledged, whenever I talk, I don't trash Brock Lesnar's opponents, because anyone who steps into this ring with Brock Lesnar deserves to be applauded, and they have some inner guile. Jinder, however, he's not on Brock's level. And it's like, ooh, because Chris Jericho always writes in his first book how you need, and I never knew this before I read it, but it makes total sense. Never bury your opponent's abilities. You can make fun of them, you can do all these things, but if they beat you and you've been saying they're crap and they can't beat, along those lines, you look bad and they don't look any better either, because so it's...
And if you say bad stuff and then you win, who did you beat?
Exactly.
Because they're clearly a loser.
Exactly. So Paul Heyman took that route. Now, this could work. If Jinder then goes on a competitive rampage over the next 4 weeks, proves himself, and then loses a valiant effort to Brock Lesnar. I think that would be an actual way to make Jinder look actually pretty good, especially ahead of the India tour at the first week of December.
Yeah, that's clearly not the plan.
Because it looks like it's... I think... we know Jinder's injured, so he's not competing at the moment in weekly TV matches, at least. He's not really competing on house shows, in dark matches. He's being kept in 6-man tags to help him out. So I think he's going to be... I think he's going to get a cheating... I think he's going to get a cheating victory over Brock.
You really think he's going to win?
Yeah, the way Paul said that.
You think that they're going to just ruin all of their plans that they've been doing all year long to build to Roman Reigns getting the belt at WrestleMania, just to have Jinder beat him before the India tour? I mean, what the hell am I talking about? Of course they would do that.
Yeah.
Of course they would do that. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I thought this was, here's a stunning revelation. Paul Heyman cuts a fantastic promo. This was a great promo. And it was just really interesting, as you said, because he literally was staying there, burying Jinder, saying, you are not good enough to beat Randy Orton. You are not good enough to beat Shinsuke Nakamura. You are not good enough to be Brock Lesnar. You're not his contemporary. You are not his equal. You're so far below him. And as fans, we're like, well, yeah, that is true. And, had they done better booking for Jinder since he won the championship, maybe that this Survivor Series match might have actually meant something. But they haven't done that, because clearly that was never the aim. Jinder was never meant to be the guy. He was just holding the championship until the India tour, and then he won't be champion come next year. But Yeah, it was just really, really interesting.
It struck me today, if we were still in the pay-per-view era, and the idea is, rather than being locked into not locked into, but sort of like a gym membership, you pay your £10 or $9.99 every month, and you get the WWE Network. You sort of forget about it. You set it and forget it. In the old pay-per-view days, you had to actively buy the pay-per-view every month.
Sometimes in the older days, you had to call up your pay-per-view provider.
It really was a conscious decision. So you really had to convince people, build up both opponents, and make a fight that people wanted to see. This is Survivor Series. If this match was put on in the actual pay-per-view era, like 90s, 80s, 90s, and to the early noughties, this would be an absolute failure. Like a
Complete
huge
dud.
money loser. No one wants to see Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal.
No, but I think the WWE mentality is like, but it's the WWE champion versus the Universal champion. So like
Totally right.
that's the draw. It's champion v champion. But as I've said, historically, since the brand split, champion versus champion matches have never drawn for WWE. They never drew when they did them on pay-per-view. They did very bad ratings when they did them on television. So that's not a draw. And particularly, it's not a draw here when your WWE champion is Jinder Mahal.
It's a narcissistic approach to promoting. That is, WWE is the name, rather than, as you can look at any sport, it's the individual characters that people get invested in. The individual sports, not team sports. Team sports, people follow the teams regardless.
I don't know, because even in team sports, there are certain members of those teams that are more over than anyone else.
And break through to the mainstream, sure. Yeah, so it's always about the characters, not the banner of WWE. So, yeah, very frustrating stuff.
Yeah.
Alicia Fox beat Bayley and Sasha Banks, as we previously alluded to, in the next match, in a three-way, which means she's the captain for the Raw Women's team, Survivor Series.
This match was very bad early on and only got worse. It was just a very, very, very bad match.
So it was.
But again, that ties into what you said about PW Insider saying it was meant to be Banks versus Bayley. That's what you're being planned for. And then they're like, oh, actually, you throw Alicia Fox in there. Well, now we've got a plan for a three-way.
Sure.
And, unfortunately, the NXT way of teaching women in NXT was that they weren't taught to just call matches on the fly. They would actually just rehearse matches over and over and over again until they got them right. So when you move up to the main roster and you have to kind of just change things on the fly, maybe this is what happens then, and you just end up having very sloppy matches.
The in-ring work was not good, but Fox herself was so more interesting than Banks and Bayley, and that's really sad.
It is very sad.
Considering the other two.
Yeah, I did laugh when she got out of the ring, just grabbed the bell and started ringing it, especially then, and I would credit to Booker. He went, oh, the match is over.
He probably was asleep. He only comes to when everyone's been cheating when he hears the bell. My favourite bit was Alicia behind Bayley, mimicking Bayley.
Doing a solid job of mimicking her as well.
I thought,
like the bend and everything, she got it absolutely spot on.
Wrestling ability aside, Alicia Fox was really good in this match.
And again, I hate to say it, but she hit a better belly to belly than Bayley has done in ages. It was a really solid belly to belly suplex.
And it was Northern Lights Suplex City at the start. They have actually done a good job here, because if Banks became the team captain, if Bayley became the team captain, I'd just go, okay, let's move on. Same as last week. Alicia Fox, I'm actually interested in.
Yeah, I mean,
never thought I'd say that.
It sort of turns the thing into a bit of a joke, which I'm not as keen on, but it is a more interesting way of doing it. There was also a moment in this match when Banks had Alicia Fox in the bank statement, and Foxy starts reaching for the ropes, and Michael Cole's going like, doesn't really matter because it's a triple threat, rope breaks don't count. And then Booker T goes, oh, she's reaching for the ropes, she might get out of this. It's a triple threat, rope goes. And, credit to Booker T, he wasn't the only one that messed up there. Like, it just seems to be that you can't, even in triple threat matches, everyone still just goes for the ropes. They just go into autopilot mode and just go for all those things.
Well, specifically Alicia Fox, because she also tries to pin people outside the ring.
Kurt Angle did make that joke earlier in the night. He says, like, oh, Alicia, just remember, you can only pin people inside the ring.
Next up, we had a Cruiserweight 10-man tag, which is obviously built into a Survivor Series match. Apparently, originally, per the PW Insider report, this was this was meant to be an elimination match.
Mm.
So I'm glad they didn't do that, because now they can do that at Survivor Series.
But are they having a Survivor Series match? Because Kurt
Don't know yet.
Well, because Kurt Angle announced there are going to be 2 elimination matches, one featuring the women and one featuring the dudes.
Well, yeah, but, it's not beyond them to add something. This could be a great pre-show match.
It'd be a good
couldn't it?
kickoff.
What a pre-show match. In Raw versus SmackDown, where does 205 Live go?
Yeah. Drew Gulak was just the best.
The opening bit here. So Enzo is still suffering. Apparently, he's just lost his voice. It's nothing to do with the viral outbreak thing backstage. So Drew Gulak did all of Enzo's promo shtick written out for him off a clipboard, but in sort of, in Drew Gulak's politician speak. And it was so good. And what made it even better was Enzo mutely looking at him like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You're ruining my words. And and then they all spelt out SWAF when Enzo said it. Great heel faction.
Yeah.
Well, great Enzo, great Drew. The others were there.
Were there.
But they weren't given anything to work with.
No.
The babyface team, though,
Team Lucha.
is I really don't like just plucky babyface. Like, where they're all just excited. It reminds me of drama students. And I hate the way drama students just walk around and just start stretching in weird places. Circus people do it a lot as well.
I felt so sorry for the 4 lads when they had to be backstage doing the lucha thing. I was like, I can just see little bits of them dying inside. And then they had to go out and do it all again on the stage. I was like, Team Lucha.
Yes.
And it sounds so stupid when you say it. I'm sure when you're like, oh, because he goes lucha, we'll call them that, Team Lucha. But it's like, nope, it's Team Lucha.
They sound like idiots.
Yeah.
They looked like idiots.
They looked like idiots.
When the match started, though, they were incredible.
Grand Metalik, man. Grand Metalik is so good. He's awesome.
The rope walk.
I forgot how good he is.
There were some crazy things here. Moonsaults to the outside. Loads of dives. Crowd mostly disinterested, unfortunately.
Mustafa Ali launched himself like an absolute rocket. Completely missed his target. But
he completely overshot, didn't he?
Like the height that man gets and the distance he can get, I think Mustafa Ali is so good.
Yeah, we love Mustafa Ali. Kalisto pinned Amore to win, which I see what they're doing because then it furthers their feud. But why? I would much prefer Kalisto to pin another one of the heels.
Yeah.
Keep Enzo relatively safe. He doesn't always have to lose.
Yeah, and it's a shame as well because the story of the match they were telling, and this is something you could have saved for Survivor Series, which was that Enzo wasn't getting in the match. He was sending his lackeys in to do it. And then all of his lackeys got taken out, and he got accidentally tagged in and then got pinned.
Yeah.
You could have done that at Survivor Series as well, where all 4 of his guys get eliminated, and then he has to get in and wrestle. Interesting story to tell. They've opted not to do that.
Yeah, just have Enzo. What's his strength? Talking. Have Enzo on the outside at Survivor Series, just cutting promos on people in the match, people on the crowd, doing a bit of commentary live at ringside. And, but at the end, he's the only man standing and has to get in the ring.
Yeah.
Great.
Could have worked.
So the main event, which really was the bit that saved the show, was Kurt Angle coming out to say... To announce the Team Raw for Survivor Series. And I thought, I know how these segments work. One by one, they're going to come out, and then there's going to be a bit of a scuffle. Someone else might come out, be like, why am I not in there? Then Braun Strowman's music hits. He's still alive. Samoa Joe returns. That's what I sort of had in mind for this. But they gave me something I didn't know I wanted and executed it very, very well. Shane McMahon came out through the crowd when his music hit. Took a while for him to appear. Flanked by all of SmackDown's mid-card. So none of your top guys. Someone said they saw Nakamura.
Nakamura was there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Styles and Nakamura were part of it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but you're right. It's all their mid-card.
Yeah. Jinder Mahal wasn't there.
Yeah, Styles like Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton weren't there.
So they all come out, and Sami Zayn wasn't there as well, which is very good because...
That's excellent.
He's in a feud with Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
That was the other thing that wound me up about Shane. And again, kind of driving a halt to the storylines that you're telling. This is Shane's big return after Hell in a Cell, just not focused on Sammy whatsoever. He's more focused on Survivor Series, which I just think it's just dreadful storytelling.
That was a shame, McMahon.
Yay.
And they surrounded Kurt Angle, and I thought, okay, they're going to have a standoff here. And no, they actually proper healed it up and went for Kurt Angle. Kurt did a great job of sort of half walking, half running to the back, kind of selling confusion and terror at the same time. And Team Blue, get him. So they all go back and just like storm through the backstage area and have a series of very fun encounters. Beat up Titus Worldwide as soon as they saw them. Baron Corbin just chucking a random production guy and saying, "Who are you?" That was I love.
I don't know about you. I felt very sorry for the TV. Like they literally ganged up on this TV and they're like, "Look, it's a TV." Raw!
It's a TV that's got a Raw graphic. Just turn it off, man. The TV's done nothing.
And Chad Gable just kicking the light as he walked past it.
Yeah, and that was a good bit. They're walking along, and it's mainly the New Day and Rusev.
Rusev was on fire in this segment.
Yeah, Beanie Rusev. So when he's wearing a beanie hat, he just looks awesome.
Yeah.
And the three of them really felt intimidating. And yeah, it was a very forceful invasion. And it could have just been a bit jokey and jovial, but no, it felt like something. They chased off a bunch of women, the heel women, so Alexa Bliss, Emma, Dana Brooke, who were having their makeup done.
Of course.
And then there was a tense standoff between the Raw women and the Smackdown women. Smackdown women easily beat them up. I think that's fine. I saw people have problems with that. Like,
oh no, but they were beating up everyone backstage.
You could have but it's just 4-on-4. It's a fairer fight. You could have protected the Raw women.
No,
I was like, but they're caught by surprise.
They've
already wrestled.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
They go to the locker room and they beat up Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. Chad Gable goes right for Jason Jordan. Brilliant touch. And poor Matt Hardy walks out the bathroom just having done a broken crap. And
he gets broken up.
And he just gets like the crap beaten out of him.
Literally.
And Finn Balor's there as well. He gets beaten up.
This is actually, although I will say that sometimes they didn't shoot this very well because I didn't even realise Finn Balor was there until I got to the studio and you told me, oh yeah, they beat up Finn. I was like, did they? I didn't even see him there.
Yeah. And just to add to the coolness, they're walking along the SmackDown just on this rampage, and then there's the Shield above them, and the Shield jump and sort of get the better of them for a while. I thought that was awesome. That was really
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Then they get Kurt and drag him to the ring, and Shane's like, "I'll see you at Survivor Series. Bring you gold medals and your and your best men," implying that Kurt's wrestling at Survivor Series.
My favourite moment of this was not Beanie Rusev. It wasn't the New Day being great. I wish the Usos would have been there because I felt like they really would have fit into this sort of thing. It was Mojo Rawley constantly shouting, "What now, Playboy?" to everyone he was beating up. Just what a weird odds thing to shout. Just to continuously shout, "What now, Playboy? What now?"
He wants a t-shirt. It's time to do a brief Patreon shout out to all those who've donated $10 a month or more to this fine channel. I just accidentally hit the what do you call that? The bass. It's the ring bell bass.
It's all about the bass, no treble.
So thank you, Brawling Brian Kreiser.
Already in the ring, PJ Stall.
Catchers Catch Can, Connor Simons.
Ralph Greener's grass in the ring.
The notorious one, Shane O'Krellin.
The best commentator in wrestling history, Josh Matthews. Not that one.
Which one?
You know the one.
I know the one. Russell Weathers, The Storm.
Get the tables, Jason Lee Wood.
Is that okay if I kind of hit you as well?
Well, I mean, you're still far away from me.
I mean, like, force it
right,
into
I see.
you.
Well, I don't know, mate.
Nikolai Burger with cheese.
Abdullah the Butcher Alenzi.
The Demon Baron, Tom Roberts.
Prince of the Cruiserweights, Kyle Jenkins.
Well, he could be upgraded now, couldn't he, to King, because there's an absence at the top of the Cruiserweight
Apparently,
division.
he's also been cut from the opening of 205 Live now as well.
Well, if you would watch today's WrestleTalk news, Luke, that's the lead story.
Well, it's not been.
It's not up yet.
It's not out yet.
Fancy Felix Voigt. It is up for you, though. This is because we're recording it before it's gone live. The Flintman.
That's mine.
Sorry.
The Flintman, Ben Sawyer.
JS Woo Woo Woo. Oh no, it's JS Woo Woo Wooten. I went Rick rather than Zach.
Yeah. Krishna the Deadshot.
Ryan Spencer Mansion from Resident Evil.
Well, his name was Ryan Spencer, and Spencer Mansion's the thing from Resident Evil.
Right. Ryan Spencer Mansion from Resident Evil.
Jordan Triple Threat Jorish.
You can tell you came up with that last Resident Evil one, because I don't know what that reference is. Noah Edward Enigma. I know that one. That's a Batman one.
Joshua School of Hard Knocks.
Well, Kane will be your mayor soon, hopefully. Robert Allen, now shut up.
That's a Small Soldiers joke.
Is it?
Yeah, you remember he says, he goes, "What is your name?" "Alan, now shut up." "Greetings, Alan, now shut up."
Ah, nice. The Gorgonites.
The Gorgonites, that's
The
right.
lamest of the times.
And lastly, El Diablo Pedro Mendez.
It's a Smackdown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
Continuing our theme of double speak, SmackDown opened with Michael Cole speaking to me, looking at me directly through the camera, and the name bar graphic, Tom Phillips.
Hilarious.
That was brilliant, especially because of what happened last week, where I didn't realise Michael Cole had replaced Tom Phillips because Tom Phillips is on assignment. He's gotten married.
Yep. Don't know why they can't just say that.
Yeah.
Well,
like, we wish you well done.
Might give them personality though, and that really is not the case. That's what they don't want.
Yeah, people only have a certain amount of pops in them, and you don't want them to pop for anything else other than that one move, other than the finish in the entrance. Really overprotect the crowd. So, the crowd were very hot, though, for Shane McMahon as he walked out.
Hot crowd all night, most of the night, at least at the start anyway. They might have had it beaten out for them, but they were a very good crowd. I really enjoyed them.
I think a lot of it really does have to do with the genuine excitement that the closing segment of Raw created.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon sort of comes back, and for a moment there it's like, how are you going to play this? Are you going to go weird heel out of nowhere?
Because they were very heelish
Yeah.
on Raw, but I loved how they justified it on SmackDown because he still sounded like the babyface. And I again, as we've always said, the heel is always at their best when they're right.
Yeah, and it was just like, it's not good versus evil, it's just Shane McMahon beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
It was going to happen. It was going to happen regardless, and he even got, not the hashtag part, but he got Under Siege going as a chant.
I was going to say, so in my notes for Raw, I wrote down, "Stop saying Under Siege, no one knows what it means." And that was quite evident because when he said it to Kurt Angle, when he said, when they were out in front of the crowd, he said, "Under Siege." No one reacted. Because that, again, as a Vince McMahonism, it's not like, it's the WCW, when the NWO came in, they were like, "We're taking over." Because that's something that people can understand. As a layman's term of just like, we're coming in, we're taking over. They didn't come in and go like, we're Under Siege. That Steven Seagal movie on the boat where he's a chef.
I think Under Siege is a... People know what that means.
Well, going by that crowd reaction when no one popped for it.
But everyone chanted it.
That's what I mean.
Siege.
That's what I'm
Under
saying.
Siege.
I think then because it was drilled in, and then because they did start doing hashtag Under Siege, and all of the blue people on Twitter were saying, "Under Siege, Raw, you've just been taken under siege." Then Shane McMahon kept saying on SmackDown, the crowd got it. So the point I was making was, credits to WWE, you took a term that no one understood on Raw, then less than 24 hours later, got the crowd chanting it.
I see what you mean.
So
I thought you
sometimes-
were criticising.
No, so sometimes, if you just keep saying things often enough, eventually the crowd will chant for it.
Eventually the whole crowd will chant, "Fantasy Warfare, come to life! Fantasy Warfare, come to life! Ultimate Thrill Ride!"
The only night of the year where SmackDown and Raw stars collide in the ring.
Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. It'll be WrestleMania 34's tagline next year. So yeah, I really enjoyed, like you said, I really enjoyed Shane's stuff here. And I said in my review, and I'm proud of this pun, so I'm going to say it again, Shane McBatman. Because it's sort of like, it's that methodology. He's not the bad guy, he's just the guy who's got a plan for everything.
Yeah.
It's a tactical thing. However, with all the spectacle and the very fun excitement of an invasion angle, Sami Zayn, the human stuff was the best stuff here.
Well, again, because we've got to just like sometimes put the brakes onto storylines. We've got to put the brakes onto this Survivor Series storyline so we can get back into gear, so we can carry on the other storyline that we had to stop previously for Survivor Series stuff. So Sami Zayn can come out and they can continue that feud that they had previously. And I love this Sami Zayn so much. So much. The way that he dances to his music, the way he danced in the ring, just staring Shane McMahon in the face and doing his dance was so good. He's excellent at this role. I love this Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I love it as well. It's just the way he said, no hard feelings, and he goes out to shake the hand and Shane just
knocks
whacks
it
it
away.
away. And Sammy says, "Me and Kevin Owens have talked it over, and we'll lead Team
Yeah,
SmackDown."
so good.
After carrying this on our backs, and it just fits so well with how they see themselves. Just this really cocky, acting out heel group. Yeah, I love it, and it just although a lot of the storylines and feuds have had to be halted, this is a good way to entwine these two storylines, because a lot of people have said, especially, spoiler, Sammy loses in the main event. Maybe at Survivor Series, and a few people have said this on Twitter to me, maybe Kevin Owens and Sammy come out and cost SmackDown the thing.
Well, that's where
match.
That was my thinking as well, especially because SmackDown won last year. So realistically, you're thinking Raw are going to win this year.
Yeah, but Shane said, we don't need your help. It's the land of opportunity, so I'm going to put you in a match with Randy Orton.
Land of opportunity.
Yeah.
Land of opportunity.
Which wasn't like that sort of diplomatic, I'm going to put you in a match then to earn that right. Wasn't what I wanted from Shane McMahon. I wanted a bit more anger and fire against
You did have the
Sammy.
commentators really trying to sell this as like, I don't know how Shane is like really holding himself back from beating up Sami Zayn. He must be raging on the inside. Kind of like trying to save face because you have to do this more diplomatic thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the commentators did their best, but again, that's why I hate this Raw versus SmackDown thing for Survivor Series. I'd much rather, because they were building these Raw Survivor Series matches and these SmackDown Survivor Series matches. I don't know why they didn't just stick with that rather than doing Raw v SmackDown.
One other thing I noticed about this was Shane's no good on the mic.
Do you know, he was bad, but Daniel Bryan had a very bad night.
Oh, I thought he was okay.
I thought he was really bad, particularly in the final segment. I thought he was very bad.
You know, when some people have built up so much goodwill with you, you just let bits like that slide. He wasn't on his A game for the final bit, but Shane McMahon is just he's. I don't know why it was more apparent to me tonight than any other time, but he's not good.
I thought he was mostly fine here, but he was nowhere near as good as Sammy, because Sammy was very, very good.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that exposed Sammy's got this very good character, and Shane McMahon is just a bit of a robot. The first match, however, was American Beater beating the New Day with the Usos on commentary. The Usos were the best thing about this.
Usos were absolutely awesome. Well, actually, the best thing about this was that this match was presented to us by Jolly Ranchers. Keep on sucking. You're succeeding, Michael Cole.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many... So, as soon as he said it... so if you sort of missed this part, Michael Cole does the usual... This match is presented by our sponsors, yada, yada, yada. And the tagline is... Keep on sucking. Because it's like a sour sweet, I guess. We don't know what Jolly Ranchers is over here in the UK.
Here.
And he says that keep on sucking. And then someone else on the commentary team goes, what? And then they just go straight into the normal commentary. And I don't know who... It sounded like either Byron, but it could be one of the Usos.
I thought it was one of the Usos.
Yeah. I think it might be.
Really made me laugh.
Yeah. Is that... What?
As I said to you when I came in the studio, that's the sort of thing that when you're Michael Cole, you've gone into work today, it's like, okay, Michael, here's all of your lines that you've got to say. You've got to plug this match. Here's their tagline. And you just read that and go like, oh, well, this is all I'm getting on Twitter for the next 48 hours.
Yeah. But there was like that happened. I was like, it's almost like there's so many jokes you can write. I don't know which path to take for the Raw, the SmackDown review script. So I went for, you suck, Michael Cole, but it could have easily been a blowjob joke.
Yeah.
Easily. The most interesting thing about this was a fun 5-minute match. I think it had the ad break shtick in the middle as well. Was that Shelton Benjamin effectively cheated to win the match. Yeah, it wasn't the most well done thing. After a pretty decent high-flying bit, Chad Gable pushed Xavier Woods into the ropes while the referee's back was turned, and Shelton Benjamin delivered a very weak-looking kick to Woods' sort of kidney area. And Chad Gable didn't even hit a move on him afterwards, just pinned him. Not even a roll-up, it was just a pin, and that was enough for a 3 count. That wasn't very good.
Corey really tried to save this by saying, like, oh man, he kicked him so hard, winded him enough that he couldn't muster up the energy to kick out. Good save, Corey, but perhaps hitting a move would have been a better option.
Yeah. But this sort of builds on last week's heelish promo that maybe Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin are going to be the bad guys, because the Usos definitely do feel a lot more face. SmackDown is lacking a heel tag team right now.
Particularly now that the Usos are so face-driven. I did like when they showed the replay of that segment from last week when they went to do the handshake and then missed it. They cut back to the Usos and one of them goes, "Can't believe you fell for that."
They're very good. The next thing was the Women's Survivor Series team segment backstage.
All the girls standing in a row.
Yeah, just like on Raw. This is how it's going to be. The men don't all stand in a row, do they? It's always the women. They just hang out like a gaggle.
The men did. They did at the TLC just before they went out for their match. Miz was standing there flanked by them all standing in a row.
But, like, they're a team. They're not an entire division. Not all the... Remember when the cruiserweights did? There was like a whole room of cruiserweights. That's where they sleep.
Yeah, just all standing in a row. And guess what? We're leading to another multi-woman match because that's all SmackDown can do.
Daniel Bryan did have a good line. He came out and he to the backstage area with all the women and said, "The good news is you're all on the team." And Lana steps forward and goes, "But there is 6 of us." And Bryan goes, "Apart from you, Lana." That was
After saying he had a bad night, he was very
was
good
very
there.
good.
Very good.
Carmella said, "Where's James Ellsworth?" And that set up Fashion Dogs. The Reservoir Dogs parody of Fashion Files. What did you think?
This was the best Fashion Files in a while.
Are you kidding?
I loved this one. I thought it was hilarious. Do you not like it?
I thought it was possibly the least funny.
Oh, really? How interesting.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but like everything else is of such high quality that they
I
do.
thought this was great. No,
What did you like about it so
loved this.
much?
Okay, so the Fashion Files, they were doing a skit of Reservoir Dogs. So you did kind of the Reservoir Dogs introduction thing.
Which was very good.
Which was very slow. And you got the Ascension like running up behind them as if to join in. And then you've got a moment where like they're going like, "Hey, we're friends. And it's all slow motion. I loved it. I thought that was very funny. You cut it in there, and you're doing the skit of the scene where Michael Marsden is cutting off the cop's ear. And you've got James Ellsworth, and James Ellsworth's trapped there. And they set up the joke earlier in the night by Carmella saying, "I don't know where James Ellsworth is. He's missing." So this pays off here with James Ellsworth sitting there. And they have the line from the movie is like, "Are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite?" But he says the line, and then James Ellsworth bit him because he's a dog. That was quite a nice little, very niche joke there, but it made me chuckle. You had the Ascension drinking gasoline, which made me laugh. Them pointing out the idiocy of just like, "Guys, we've already solved this." Oh no, they said like, "Oh, case closed." I was like, no, it's not case closed. You haven't solved anything. Still got 2B. Who attacked you? Who dragged this away? Pointing out the kind of the stupidity of the Fashion Files not following up on storylines. But the bit that really got me, that really made me laugh, was Carmella storming in to get James Ellsworth and then said, "What are you doing? I'm not part of your skit."
That was good.
Which is great because it just highlights the fact that these two are in their own little worlds. These skits do exist within SmackDown Live.
That is good.
But they are separate from it. It's just really funny. They don't realise they're in skits. I really liked it, and I loved the setup for Stranger things next week. We'll say the underpants stuff wasn't funny. That was very childish, but you know, whatever.
That's what took me out of it.
Although I did like it when he just slung them over his shoulder.
Yeah, that was good. So the James Ellsworth was in there because he's been seen with a briefcase. Of course, that was a nice tie-in, but I just didn't really work for me. I didn't find it as funny as usual. However, the Stranger things, very funny name. Really looking forward to next week to see what they do, especially because season 2 is out on Friday.
That depends if it does happen next week.
That's a good point.
The Fashion Files have been known for promising us stuff the following week and then never delivering.
But you think if they want to capitalise fully on the release of it on Netflix, they'd do it the week of the release, you know.
Yeah.
Now, because I said to Luke hasn't seen my SmackDown review yet, where I proposed this theory, and Luke loves Stranger Things.
I do love Stranger Things.
So,
I'm rewatching the first season as we talk.
So here's something they could do.
Okay.
Next week's Stranger Things. The Bludgeon Brothers are obviously the assailants.
Well, as far as we know.
Where have the Bludgeon Brothers cut their promos from so far?
In the woods.
A blacked out room first, and in a very grainy looking woods.
Oh, right. You think, okay.
Are they in the Upside Down? And now let me quote for you, my apologies, Harper and Rowan's lines from their promo on this episode.
Up is down.
Up is down, down is up.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
I came up with that myself. Didn't even steal it from Reddit. I was so happy.
That's very good. There was actually a moment when Corey goes after his finish, like, I wish someone would send me to the Upside Down. That was the only thing I didn't like about this, or I particularly don't like about Michael Cole being on SmackDown, is Michael Cole burying these segments by saying, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Shut up, Michael Cole. What do you know? These segments are great. I liked it. I'm a big fan of Stranger Things, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Also, one positive about the commentary is how they put over and kept cutting back to the doors. The locked doors with the invisible WWE security team that usually do such a great job of keeping everyone out. And that, like, throughout the night, we're on guard for Raw's retaliation. And it was really well set up, I thought, as a looming threat. And then the next segment was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon backstage. First time we've seen them together since Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan was like, when were you going to tell me about your little invasion plan? Which is, like, of course Bryan would be furious. He's the general manager. All of his talent were taken away from him like this. And, made to do something that could break certain rules. You're reckless. It's going to have consequences. But Bryan, Shane was like, well, that's my job. And Daniel Bryan, said that, well, yeah. So that's some really interesting tension between them there. I'm very curious to see where that goes. Next up, Sin Cara versus Baron Corbin. He got his second consecutive win over Corbin.
Certainly did. I thought there was some pretty decent action in this for a little while, and then Corbs got himself disqualified.
For an extended beatdown. I just didn't care. I didn't care.
No, I mean, okay, I don't care. I'm just saying that it was some decent action.
Sure. It's just, I said it earlier, the US title meant something a month or two ago. And now it's
But even then, it didn't.
nothing.
Even then, it didn't feel like a lot because you and I were not invested in the AJ Kevin Owens storyline. So really, it's not felt like a lot for some time now.
But like
Actually, it's not felt a lot all year.
But let's just say Owens and AJ do have name recognition. That did somewhat elevate the United States title. Baron Corbin then gets it, okay, but you need someone else of good name value in there to sort of balance it out. But now you put Sin Cara in there.
I was gonna say,
It's just fallen.
Why is this not Ty Dillinger? The
Ty
storyline
Dillinger,
plays out
yeah.
the same way with Ty Dillinger, but that makes sense because that was the story you were building previously before Hell in a Cell. So I don't understand why it's now Sin Cara in that role.
You could. There are so many different people you could put in this spot. Like a member of Breezango, like Rusev, face, Randy Orton. I don't know, something that elevates the United States belt. But I guess because everyone's going to be tied up in the Survivor Series team match, chuck Sin Cara with him. I don't know. More rubbishness. Next was Jinder's boring promo I found about Brock Lesnar.
I have written possibly the worst note I've ever written in any of my note-takings for a review I've done. I've written here, Jinder would be so much better if he'd been booked better. Just do it better.
Just do it better. It's not that hard.
Just
WWE.
Just do it better. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
But the point of that awful note is that it as we said in the Raw review, it killed all credibility of the Survivor Series main event because Jinder has been booked so poorly. No one takes him seriously, and as a result, it's now really rubbish. And I'm really over this Jinder experiment. I can't wait for this India tour to be over. I don't want to be that guy that's just like, oh, Jinder's devaluing the WWE title. He's ruining SmackDown. Just take the belt off of him. But I am feeling like, I can't wait for the title to mean something again. I really can't. I'm so bored of Jinder Mahal now. Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, and the next 2 weeks at least, well, this week and next week, are AJ Styles beating Singh brothers. We know how that's going to go. It's not particularly interesting, even though they're all quite fun performers. It's a waste of AJ. It's a waste of Jinder when he should be starting to build himself up for Brock. It's all bad. It's all very bad. Although, I mean, this is what I will say about this is that they are building AJ versus Jinder better than they built Jinder versus Nakamura. And the other thing as well is that, like, A, why did Nakamura get this sort of booking treatment? And B, why did Nakamura never get his revenge on Jinder Mahal for all the cheating? Considering that they let Randy Orton have his revenge multiple times, I believe, where he got to pin Jinder Mahal clean in the middle of the ring for his revenge. So how come Nakamura didn't get that? Why has Nakamura just been all of a sudden forgotten about? Because there's no consistency. Because if I say because you're building Jinder up for Brock Lesnar, Like, weren't you building up Jinder for Shinsuke Nakamura
Yeah,
before?
exactly, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this was very bad, and then the match was a very quick squash match, but I mean, hey, they're booking AJ in Asuka's position better than they are Asuka.
Next up was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens backstage, and Owens walked in where Sami Zayn was listening to some music to reveal that his opponent next week is Shinsuke Nakamura to be on team. So Kevin Owens, if he wins that, will go on to Team SmackDown. I'm guessing he won't, so you've got this rogue faction for Survivor Series.
I agree.
But I thought, I watched this and I thought, because Kevin Owens is unfortunately at home at the moment dealing with personal issues, and I just assumed this was a pre-tape.
I don't know, to be honest.
I was really shocked at the end when Kevin Owens turned out to be there.
Well, I was going to say, I've written in my notes here, Owens is here, so I assumed that he was.
Oh, I just thought that was a
pre-tape. It was
pre-tape.
a pre-tape.
Because I thought he was still at home, but there you go. Next up, we had the Fatal 5-Way match. Then he said Fatal 5-Way elimination match, which is what was on Raw the other week. Which was Becky Lynch beating Charlotte, Carmella, Naomi, and Tamina.
Jobber entrances around, apart from Charlotte and Naomi, because they're the stars.
Yeah, Becky Lynch made Carmella tap, which means she's the captain.
Yes, I was genuinely surprised, quite happy to see Becky get a win, and maybe get a slight bit of a push.
What?
Well, yeah,
I think
stuff.
it's just, Alicia Fox is the captain on the other team,
well,
so it doesn't really mean anything.
The match is a joke, so it doesn't really matter too much, but yeah.
I liked Natalya coming, even though she's not involved in the match, she was brought into the middle after everyone's entrances and given a proper ring introduction.
That was
the
great.
best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
She's the best wrestler in the Hart family.
Yeah.
Loved that. I thought it was great.
So that was a nice touch. And Tamina looked pretty decent here, I thought.
Yeah.
They've effectively given her the power spot, sort of the Nia Jax protection. Now, then we had a pretty good Dolph Ziggler promo.
No, before that.
Oh, have I missed something?
We had the Bludgeon Brothers.
Because I put it earlier. Yeah.
We got the Bludgeon Brothers here. Legitimately my new favourite act on SmackDown. I don't know why, but now 3 weeks in, I love the Bludgeon Brothers. I love their crap promos. I love their garbled speak. I love their pretty average delivery. I love the fact that they hit things with giant hammers. I love this act. I can't wait for this act to debut.
I'll be interested to see if you like it in practice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like I know this is not a great act, but I love it. It's my new favourite thing on SmackDown.
Well, bully for you. Dolph Ziggler cut a pretty good promo backstage.
And it's funny as well because I've written here, Bludgeon Brothers are my new favourite act. Dolph Ziggler is not. And which is funny then because you thought that Dolph Ziggler cut a fairly decent promo.
Well, it was not really. So I think Dolph Ziggler is pretty good. It's just where he doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't think he can mean anything again until he leaves and comes back, does stuff elsewhere because he's just stuck in this holding pattern forever. He'll never break out of this certain perception people have of him. But he still remains a very good wrestler and a very good promo. Unfortunately it's all hollow. But he had a line here that I really appreciated, and it was like, look, me and Bobby Roode were part of that SmackDown invasion last night, but that doesn't mean we're friends. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, that was good.
Line.
Yeah.
Then, hey, guess who's here backstage also? It's Bobby Roode. And he's smiling. He comes in smiling. I was like, he's just been talking trash about you. You're going to be a babyface. I disagree with that. At least be a good babyface. Don't be like this, you've given me a good idea. The number 2. How about we have a 2 out of 3 falls match? It'll be glorious. Like, you just sound like an idiot.
Bobby Roode is not as cool as the Bludgeon Brothers, that is true.
I agree with that. God, what has the world come to? Our main event, however, was very good. Really enjoyed this.
This was great.
Randy Orton has upped his wrestling match game. I mean, the tag match with Nakamura versus Rusev and Aiden English was pretty good. That's where I remember it happening. So it was coming out of obviously the 2 matches with Rusev after SummerSlam were no good. All the stuff with Jinder beforehand wasn't very good. The Nakamura match was very good. Remember that armbar transition off the RKO? But here, that match, this match, and this was really, really good.
So good.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. And I said it in my SmackDown review. Randy's offense is so heelish. Sami Zayn's is so babyface. yet they were always very clearly the opposite to those.
Yeah, I thought it was so great. Loved the corner DDT spot. It's just, I thought this was great from start to end. I thought they told a really effective story and an excellent ending where Kevin Owens came out. You think it's going to lead to a distraction roll-up, and then Randy Orton uses that distraction to his own advantage because he's not a stupid babyface. Getting revenge for last week for the low blow, hits a low blow of his own, and then just holds Sammy's head up for ages, and then hits the RKO.
Yeah.
And Michael Cole, to his credit, said it was an RKO, and for once it wasn't out of nowhere.
Very good. Yeah, it really gives Sammy a good rub as well by being, in this match, competitive match up until the cheating moment with Randy Orton.
And Randy Orton had to cheat to beat him. So that actually helps elevate Sammy.
Definitely. And Randy Orton is now at that point in his career as such a tweener where no one's saying, Randy Orton heel turn. They effectively told what... it was great. Great story. Really good.
Awesome, yeah.
But the actual show ended backstage on Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon saying, we got away with it, Raw didn't come for us. And Bryan's like, but they will.
They will.
And that's on you, Shane. I thought it was, interesting tease.
Nice.
But which show was better, Raw or SmackDown? Vote in the poll above my head to give your thoughts because it means something. I'm going to go first because I think we might differ. I preferred Raw this week.
SmackDown all the way.
This is the first time we've differed, so depending on what you all vote for counts in the overall battle. I think it might be out of your hands now, though, because I won. It was a draw for TLC.
Yeah, I think I need like 2 points or so. But if I win this and I win Fantasy Booking Warfare, I might be able to call it.
It could be a draw. So this really matters. I think I'm going to win this one, though. I feel like more people will agree with me.
Yeah, I'm willing to concede that people might have preferred Raw, but for me, I thought Raw had a killer opening match, a superb opening match, but the rest of the show took an absolute nosedive up until the final angle at the end, which was very, very cool. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in storyline, but I thought it was very, very cool. But the rest of the show, that 3 hours, it just dragged and dragged and dragged and dragged. Whereas I thought SmackDown had a really great main event. Really liked Sami Zayn. The Bludgeon Brothers are brilliant. Loved the Fashion Files. And I thought there was much more to enjoy on SmackDown Live. Could have done with more Rusev, but, what show can't?
Yes. Those are the closing arguments. Make your vote and click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news or WrestleRamble. Of course, subscribe to this podcast on your chosen podcast provider and this channel. And support WrestleTalk. Order issue 1 of this magazine. Look, it is a physical copy with 48 full-colour pages. It is marvellous, a work of art. This has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.